Autumn is my favorite time to slow down and create. In today's video I'm bringing those warm, earthy colors into my sketchbook. Let's get started. I haven't been drawing as much as I wanted to in the past couple of months, but since I started this Ohuhu sketchbook I've really found that urge to draw and create more again. I did a couple of pages just for me and I've had a lot of fun. So I thought, why not do an autumn related page for you guys? I went on Pinterest and searched for some reference pictures and started drawing. I'm going for a very simple illustrative style for this page. I will be using colored pencils only. I'm using a mix of different brands like Faber Castell Polychromos, Derwent drawings and Caran Pablos. For the first drawing I wanted to do this little landscape scene and really simplify it as much as I could. I wanted it to be very minimalistic and soft with very warm colors. I'm taking my time with very light layers to slowly build depth. The little cottage part is the most detailed part because it's a man-made object, but for the nature parts, like for example the trees in the background, I'm really simplifying things. No details. I'm not trying to draw every single leaf or branch, just shapes and slowly bringing in those different colors and shading. I usually always go for a very blended and burnished look, but for this page, especially for this little landscape, I wanted the color pencil texture to show through. I'm glad I found a good way to simplify the overall design of this landscape. In the picture there's some sort of lake in front of the little cottage, which I decided to not put in the final illustration, and I went for a more muted color palette which fits my style a bit more because the colors on the picture were a bit more vibrant. I don't like copying reference pictures exactly as they are. I like to put in a little bit of my style into it. Anyways, it's been ages since I've done colored pencils only drawings, and it's been very relaxing rediscovering my lost love for that medium, and just focusing on this one medium has been very game-changing for my illustration style that I had wanted to develop for quite some time now. One thing I started changing since working in the sketchbook is something that may sound a bit crazy for you guys, but hear me out. I've always avoided sharpening my colored pencils too much because I didn't want to get through them too quick. Of course, because I'm using some expensive ones, so I thought it was unnecessary, or it would be completely fine to not have super sharp tips. But that was probably one of the main reasons I have been so heavy-handed when using colored pencils. Sharp colored pencils have really helped me with this slow and light build-up of layers. It's never too late to get rid of old habits. For this second illustration, I'm drawing this small pumpkin. I really love this picture. The shape of the stem is really interesting and I like the contrast of it. Since working in the sketchbook, I've been wanting to work on my colored pencil technique. I'm a very impatient person at times and I'm very heavy-handed when it comes to colored pencils, so I really wanted to take my time putting down each color gently and lightly building up that shading and layers. With each layer you can slowly increase the pressure. For the first like 3 I had the same very light pressure. After that I started pressing harder and harder, especially on those darker colors. Working with colored pencils can be a very slow process, but that is the only way to get the best result. If you start pressing too hard from the beginning, there is no way of building layers because you have already burnished that one layer and damage the surface of the paper to the point where the paper will no longer allow any more pencil on top. I haven't been really able to achieve this amount of clean, smooth layers on the one side because, as I said, I'm very heavy-handed usually, so I had to really be careful and always remember myself to let loose. On the other hand, this paper is really good for colored pencils. It is very smooth, but it has a bit of texture to it. Not too much, I prefer smoother papers. I really like this one. It feels like kind of like my Arches hot pressed paper with slightly more texture. That's the only way I can describe it. On the Arches paper you feel more of that 100% cotton texture obviously, but this one reminds me a lot of that. Anyways, the outcome of the drawings on it is very clean and really pops on the bright white of the paper. For this third illustration, again, I'm keeping things very light and simple. I'm drawing a few acorns and autumn leaves, focusing more on gentle texture than on heavy details. I wanted to create some nice, interesting texture by using subtle strokes, not overly blended. Again, simplifying was the way to go, not putting perfection as the main thing to focus on, but prioritizing playfulness and fun and experimentation. Especially drawing leaves for me is something I always tackle with this kind of fear of messing up. The more I want it to look perfect, the faker it ends up looking, so these little drawings are a very good exercise for me to loosen up and letting go of the fear of messing up. So a way for me to get back to drawing more is to keep everything simple and have fun, almost like a child who just wants to be free and create. For the last little illustration, I added a mushroom, mostly because I still had some space left on the page and it fits perfectly with the autumn theme. Again, same layering process for this one as well, keeping the base layers light before adding depth in the shadows. I played a lot with different colors, not following the reference picture, I kind of tried using some of the colors I used for the other 3 illustrations to keep it cohesive, but also allowed myself to experiment with some other colors as well. I love the richness and depth you get by working with colored pencils. That is why I always use them in my mixed media pieces or watercolor pieces at the very end to really get those dark colors you just can't get with watercolors at all. Also, this paper allows you to go endless with your layers. I stopped when I was happy, but I could have gone even further. There was no resist from the paper at all. I also used the Derwent Burnisher and blender pencils here and there, which were quite helpful. I didn't use them a lot. I wasn't going for that very blended out style, but I used a little bit of both of those pencils for the sky in the little landscape and the background on the pumpkin, just so the background would stand out from the more textured subject, just for that little bit of contrast, you know what I mean? But overall, I really wanted that child book aesthetic, and I wanted the colored pencil texture to really show through, and I think I really achieved that with this page. Thanks for joining me today. I hope it inspired you to pick up your sketchbook again. See you in the next video. Bye guys.